Yeah, Jesse Plemons, man. That's that guy.
Oh yeah, he's a really good actor. He's a really good actor.
I mean,
I was watching it and I was like, I think this dude's gonna play Trump in a couple of years.
Hey, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to a new episode of Mostly Wrong Opinions. I am Tyrone. That is Devin. Before we get started, can you please do us a favor? Hit that like and subscribe button. It's really good to you. Now, we're about to get into a new film that's on Netflix right now. It's called Windfall.
This guy breaks into my house.
And you just sit down on the couch.
Okay, but how about you let go of my wife first? And I've had to hold his hand.
How does this open? Is there a trick to the purse?
No.
There's a clasp. And help him rob us.
It's about a robbery initially, but by the end of the film, is it about freeing somebody?
Yeah, this is my problem with the film, but I guess on its surface, yeah, it's about a guy who we initially think he's a rich guy and he's eating oranges in the backyard, but hey, it turns out this is not his house. He's broken in, and this is a robbery. But then the homeowners, the actual rich guy, comes home in the middle of this robbery. And this robbery slowly turns into a hostage negotiation, a hostage situation, and it kind of escalates. But what's interesting about the film is there's really only four faces we see the entire time. There's one more actor, a Hispanic guy who plays the lawn man, which we'll talk about in a second. So there's really only four people in the whole film. The whole film takes place in this really nice, swanky summer home in somewhere in California. And
some vineyard.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. And the movie seems to be having this debate, I guess, over the role of the rich, where this rich guy, it seems like maybe he worked maybe
rich
2 days.
White guy.
Yes, rich white guy. It seems like he might have worked maybe 2 days in his life, and one of those days he invented this algorithm, which made him very rich, and it helped companies essentially let go of people, right? Or hire and fire, right? And the rich guy, he's like, I didn't do anything. All I did was math. How am I a bad guy for making up this algorithm? Someone else would have figured it out. But Jason Segel, a character we don't really know that much, he plays the thief who comes in, and it's heavily insinuated that he lost his job because of this algorithm. Now, and he says that he came there just to look at the house, just to see if maybe this was okay. Maybe somehow this rich guy deserves to be rich. But then this looky-loo kind of breaking enter thing turned into a robbery, turned into a hostage thing. It just kind of snowballed on him.
Like, so none of this stuff was supposed to happen.
Right. But the movie's been having this debate over whether or not, like, who's right, who's wrong, who's morally good, who's morally bad. Is the poor thief or the rich billionaire? And in the middle is Lily Collins. Lily Collins plays the billionaire's wife.
She has a backstory of I'm an independent woman type of thing.
She was essentially a self-made thousandaire for most of her life, right? And she had and this was mostly symbolized by her tattoo, her foot tattoo, where this was her old life, but she's starting to get her tattoo removed, mostly because Jesse Plemons doesn't like it.
That was one of the ugliest tattoos I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I know you've made that pretty clear.
Right? So she has sacrificed a part of her life to appease her rich husband. And this, of course, is not something that sits well with her at all. So I thought that stuff was really interesting. I liked her backstory quite a bit, but I did not understand how her backstory fit with this debate that they're having between the poor thief and the rich billionaire. I was like, how does this fit? It's an interesting story, and I like it a lot, but it feels out of place. It didn't seem to add or subtract anything to the debate. She was more like an accessory. Her character, she even stated that she felt like an accessory to Jesse Plemons' character, but her character's purpose was also just kind of an accessory, just a thing that
accessory to
the film. Yeah. So I wasn't sure. I feel like her character was like sorely, not say underdeveloped, but just like off.
I'd say that.
In the wrong movie.
Yeah, I'd say either underdeveloped or in the wrong movie. Yeah, man. Especially like the ending. I'm not gonna spoil the ending for you guys, but the ending is like you went through all of this stuff with these other two men in the house, and you had the option. By the way, people had the option in this film to either attack or run throughout the whole thing and actually get away. But
because I don't know, Jason Segel has a gun, and so he's got everybody at gunpoint.
There was so many times where his back was turned away from everyone.
And the movie does acknowledge that, because Jesse Plemons writes a note to the landscaper to try and get them out, and Lily Collins doesn't like this. They have a whole argument about whether or not he should have just cooperated or written that note or not. But let's talk about that landscaper. That landscaper, I did. This was where the movie, for me, flew off a cliff. I was like, what? So first of all,
he's a landscaper, and
it's a Hispanic guy, and he's a landscaper, and he's got like the whole terrible like Mexican accent thing going on. But I'm like, oh, okay. You know, I can feel like my heart starting to beat a little bit. I'm like, careful. But then this landscaper, you said you're not gonna talk about spoilers. F you, I will. He's okay. He does these strangest things.
You have to talk about this. You have to talk about this.
You said characters had a choice to just run at any point. Well, I guess he agreed with you, because he ran, and the movie establishes him as being a generally smart guy until he starts to run, where he turns into like a klutz, and he trips on the rug and falls like through the glass and impales himself on the window.
Hey! Oh, fuck!
Oh! And he's like in the window, like gurgling blood. He's like, and it's like completely out of place. And it always pisses me off when the black and brown people get the most violent, stupid, outrageous deaths. And it's almost played up like a comedy. And I was like, and the landscaper guy had no role. His role was to trip and fall and die. And I was like, this is a terrible stereotype. To be fair to the film, it's a stereotype, yes, but the whole film, it deals with stereotypes, right? Our thief is a stereotype, our billionaire is a stereotype, our wife is a stereotype. But to drag this racial stereotype in and make no comment on it at all felt tone deaf.
Tacky. Yeah. I can feel that, man, because you know, they didn't give him much of anything to fulfill his reason of being there, because it's like they just said, he's like, hey, come over here, I want to show you this and this thing, and it's supposed to be like a tension part to where it's like everyone
exactly.
But it really wasn't, because the jig was up and they made him just stupid.
Exactly. You know? I feel like a writer was like, he looked at his script and he was like, we need something to happen. Something extra needs to happen. What if a visitor comes? A brother? No. A mother? No. A landscaper. That way we can just kill him and get rid of him. So we just need tension right here in this scene. This chart says we need tension in the second act. Boom, tension. And that's it. You can feel the mechanics of the story working. And this is never good. When you can feel the gears of the story turning. But
I want to talk about also how it's filmed. It's kind of filmed like a 1970s film in my mind.
That's interesting. I got a 40s vibe from the music. It's got like a 40s noir vibe.
Yeah, well, that's why I was going to say noir in a way.
Yeah, like maybe late 30s, early 40s noir. But obviously, it is in color; it's not black and white. But that like the score has that kind of theme going on. Is that kind of a Art Deco fonts going on? Yeah. So it is, and I like that quite a bit. I like that a lot.
No, he took that risk of, having the camera set at a wide angle so you can see the whole house at the beginning and then just panning the camera to the right to show the directions of where they're going to be going to meet the first character.
Right.
Really nice.
And that ends up, of course, being very important because this whole movie takes place in that house. So knowing the geography of the house is vitally important. So yeah, that opening shot is like the patio, and the patio is looking into the house, so you can see into the house through the glass. And the camera turns, and we can see behind the camera is a pool, and kind of like a rock garden, and then a orchid, like a orange tree thing. So I like that a lot. And and this is the kind of thing that I did not like about what was the movie Master. I felt like it had no personality, and it was trying to borrow personality from, like I said, Suspiria and stuff like that. But this film knew it was a small film, and it did just little things to give it just a little bit of a life, and I like that quite a bit.
I want to go ahead and get into rating this film now, because I think this film is a good watch on Netflix. Jesse Plemons kills it as this white business tycoon. He keeps saying, because he says it himself. He says it as a line in there. He says, no one understands how it feels to be a white billionaire.
Yeah, how it is to be a rich white man in America.
Try being a rich white guy these days. Everyone always thinks it must be real fucking nice. That's what you think, right? But you have no idea what I deal with every day. There is a fucking permanent target on my back.
Okay, dude.
Okay. Yeah, he did a great job. I love him as an actor. Jason Segel, this is the first time I've seen him in something that's like not comedy.
Yeah, unrecognizable too. It took me a minute. I was like, that's Jason Segel. It took me a second. I was like, wow, he looked completely different. Yeah. And he had not a single line of comedy. I guess some things he said were snarky, so they might have come off as comedic, but he didn't really have any comedy at all. He was very straightforward. And
Lily Collins, the beginning of the film, I did enjoy her character, but by the end, I just didn't understand that last act that happened, and I'm like, okay, whatever. But
I didn't understand her either. Like I said, she felt like she was in the wrong movie, and then in the end, she was convincing Jason Segel to not shoot everybody in the house. She was like, "Don't do that. Don't go down that path. You haven't done that yet. You're a nice guy. You don't want to go down that path." And then she goes down the path later in the film. So I'm like, "What the fuck?" It didn't seem to make any sense.
Yeah.
And I get the clever thing of the title. It's called Windfall. You think this is originally going to be one character's Windfall, but ends up being someone else's Windfall. Like, I get it, but I didn't understand that. Also, I felt like we talk about the stereotypes in this film. We had the racial stereotype, which I didn't like, but then I thought we had kind of a sexist stereotype with her too, because she kept picking arguments. She was like nagging with a gunman, like there's a gunman and he's pointing at you and your husband. This is not the time for you and your husband to talk about petty disputes, and she couldn't help herself bringing them up. And I'm like, that's a stereotype that they have of women being like naggy. So again, I know this film. I know it. I know this film is all about stereotypes, but like some of these, I think are they don't. There's no tact to the Mexican landscaper, and there's no tact to, I thought, the wife. So some of that stuff it wasn't a fan of.
Yeah, exactly. For those type of points, for what you just said, I'm gonna have to take points off for the film. Yeah, I'm gonna give this film a 7 because I really enjoyed certain parts of the film, but not others.
Yeah, I totally understand that. I'm gonna give this a 7.5. I enjoyed the film, but it's one of those films when you start thinking about it, you're like, the movie just crumbles. And even in the beginning, where another reason why the theme crumbles. I forgot to mention this. Jason Segel. Okay. So he walks into the house, and he's gonna rob him. And there are 2 points where the robbery's complete. He's off, right? So he's about to leave the house. Well, he's found their Windfall, a little stack of cash behind the desk. He's about to leave the house, And then he says, you know what? Let me go check again. And so he goes and starts rummaging through things and grabs a Rolex, and that's when everybody comes home. So one, I thought that didn't make any sense because this undercuts his idea that this billionaire is just being greedy. Like, didn't he stay in the house for greed? So like this undercuts a big theme of the film. And he does that. He does that twice. There's another point where he gets even more money, and he locks the billionaire and his wife into the sauna. And then he's about to leave, but then he sees a camera and he's like, oh, damn, and I gotta go back in and complete this thing. But I'm like, so some of that feels like he's being greedy on top of greedy. Again, undercuts it. Also, that camera doesn't make any sense that he cared about the camera because everybody saw his face. So what does he care? There's a camera, like the cat's out of the bag. Like they can find you. Like it's over. You know what I'm saying? And he was trying to wipe things down. He was trying to wipe things down, not leave fingerprints. But once everybody came home, he stopped wiping things down and he was touching things. You know, he was raw dogging stuff. He was just like,
yeah, he was putting his hand on the sauna door, putting his hand on the furniture, lawn furniture, everything.
So why does he care about this camera? Because the cat's out of the bag. So there are points where I'm like, it doesn't make sense that he would go back inside now, whether there's a camera or not. It doesn't make sense. So in my mind, I could feel myself trying to rewrite this film. I was like, you know what? Jason Segel should have shown up with the mask. That way, when he leaves and he sees the camera, maybe he pulls the mask off and then he sees the camera and now he's got to go back inside. That would make more sense to me. But because he didn't show up with the mask, I don't understand why it would matter. And another one is he shouldn't have gone in just to look around and then decided to rob them. He should have gone in straight up to just rob. That way, if he did that, I would have understood his motives better. But the
reason why he was just lurking around and stuff like that, he said he wanted to feel how it was to live in that lifestyle.
But once he felt it, get out. Like, why is he? Why did it escalate to robbing? And then why did the robbing escalate to a hostage situation? And then he found a gun, and now he's pointing the gun. So I'm like, I think they were trying to make Jason Segel's character likable by saying, oh, he's not here for completely malicious reasons, right? He just wanted to look. But the second he grabs that gun and starts pointing it at people, I mean, he's the villain, right? Like, so I don't know. Yeah. Or he's a villain. That's another part of the film. Is he the villain, or is Jesse Plemons the villain?
Or is Lily Collins the villain?
Yeah, exactly.
Is she the victim?
Right. Exactly. So I like that debate, but I found this movie a little frustrating because it was close to being really good. I was like, oh, this is a really good one. It was close to being really good and talking about really good things, but the themes were a little muddled.
Well, I gave this film a 7. Devin gave this film a 7.5. It's on Netflix now. Do you recommend it?
I do recommend it. Go check it out. It's not a long movie. Yeah. It's quick, and I feel like it moved pretty quick. But again, it doesn't really hold up to a lot of thinking. But I can feel a lot of potential here. I can feel it. So check it out.
Yeah. I think you guys should go check it out. So that is our review for Windfall. Thank you for clicking on this video and seeing our mugs rate movies. Right? Really appreciate that. You know how you can help a little bit more?
How can they help?
Subscribe button. It's right there. It's right there to the left. They can just hit that subscribe button.
Wait,
right there to the left.
It's right there?
And if you did like this review, go ahead and hit that thumbs up. It really does help out the channel. Really does. Help us out. Or you can hit the thumbs down and you could be like, I'm a thief. And I'm the new mayhem person for insurance like me. If you want to. Whatever it is your opinion. But just remember one thing, people. It is mostly wrong. See you guys in another video.